All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, Lone Stars and Longhorns, this is All In Colts, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. It's time once again to take a look at Colts players and their fantasy stats and projections in our Colts fantasy stable. So, let's go. All In Colts.
Yes, I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam. We are the Unstable Blues, happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yep. First off, like most times, Colts corner bulletin. Yeah, I think I figured out how to do that. I think back whenever we ran like our ads for the Unstable Blues, I would kind of lead in and just kind of like we're ending something.
Yep.
So that's kind of just how I do it. Not that we're ending the episode because obviously we just started, but that's just kind of how I figured.
I like it.
It works.
Provide some space. I'll do my thing, and there we go.
Yeah. The Colts placed Ryan Kelly on IR with the thought that he could return after the week 14 bye.
Yep. That means Tanner Bortolini will get his start against the Bills this week.
Gauntlet as they march it right down Pittsburgh's throat.
I wasn't even going to talk after that because I knew that was coming.
You knew it.
Knew it. Yep. Zaire Franklin, again, leads the NFL in tackles with 95, and Nick Cross is in fourth with 86 himself.
Yeah. The trade deadline came and went this week, and the Colts did what they normally do at the trade deadline. Nothing. $22 million in cap room does not win you ribbons, prizes, or championships at the end of the season. Somebody needs to let Chris Ballard know that.
Yeah. Also, congratulations to Seth DeFlo Erskans for being named the Colts Fan of the Year and getting a gift to Super Bowl 59.
Yes. This is our Colts. This is our team, and that is the fan.
Yep. I love it. I mean, he got cheerleaders on his show at his song episode thing at one point. That was fun to see. They ended up winning. That was actually their first win of the season. So it was the Bears, I believe, is who they played. All right. Personal fantasy update. Let's go with you first.
I won just barely, apparently. We were discussing it as it was happening in overtime. If Patrick Mahomes had thrown the touchdown pass instead of it being run by Kareem Hunt, I believe, I would have lost. It was that close. I looked ahead for it. Looked like I was going to run away with it, and then I think I had 125 and beat your middle sister by with 100. She had 117 ish, somewhere in there. So
okay,
pulled it out.
Yep. In one of my leagues, the UMHB league that I have, it was 116 to 119. I ended up barely winning that, and it went to overtime. And he still had players for the Bucks. I'm like, oh. And then the Bucks didn't get the ball. I'm like, okay, so don't want the Chiefs to win. I picked them for my pick 6. Don't want them to win on the inside. But it helps out fantasy. So in the grand scheme of things, I was okay with the Chiefs winning another one. And then obviously our family won last week. I ended up with 154 points, almost 155. I ended up doubling up my opponent. But we play each other this week in that one.
We do. Have you looked at it?
It's going to be close.
Probabilities 50-50 right now.
Yep, I got one big thing I'm debating on.
I made a few changes, moved some things around. I may do some more moving later. Well, it kind of depends.
Yeah, I don't know what to do, to be honest. My big fat tight end is not in anymore, who scores me a lot of points.
My tight end. I did that sneaky thing, and I picked up Hawkinson when he was still hurt.
It's true.
And so I got Hawkinson.
I'm also debating if I switch out a running back for Breece Hall, but I think I'm going to keep everybody in because I have Joe Mixon, who is playing against Detroit, who's 5th against the run. So I also have Devon in there, going to keep him in. I'm thinking about switching my quarterback, though, because Joe is playing the Ravens. Joe has been playing really well, but he's playing the Ravens. And I have Sam Darnold, who's playing
That
Jacksonville.
last time against the Ravens, though, both of those QBs went off.
I know, and I had both.
It helped you in both your leagues.
See, I have Sam Darnold on the bench waiting. So I don't know who
I'm waiting to see exactly how AJ Brown is. He practiced.
I need to go out
see.
and get another wide receiver, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I got Tyreek sitting on my bench right now. If that tells you anything about my receivers. If you needed one.
Would you like to trade at some point?
Maybe.
Depends
on what you want to give me.
You want to try now, just in the episode, just go for it?
Maybe. Well, let's see what you got.
Okay.
I feel like we need a little trade music.
Okay. So Josh Downs
comes out
starting. Okay.
There is a trade offer.
Would you be okay like trading Reek for someone?
I don't know about that. What are you offering?
What do you need?
What do I need? It's a good question. I have Jaden Daniels and I have Bo Nix. I'm not excited about either one of them necessarily this week because of who they're playing. Bo Nix is playing at the Chiefs and Jaden Daniels is playing the Steelers.
Gotcha.
But I don't know if I really want to grab a QB just for the week,
Makes sense.
Either one of those would be fine for this week. I have J.K. Dobbins and Jahmyr Gibbs for my running backs.
I see that, yeah.
And then I also have Tony Pollard.
So you really don't need anyone.
And Bucky Irving.
Okay, so you don't need anyone.
I don't know if I need a running back. My receivers, I got Josh Downs. I got Malik Neighbors. I got A.J. Brown. I got Tyreek Hill. And then just in case, I've got Darnell Mooney. Picked him up at some point because people were on a buy and I needed something. I held on to it. And then I got Brian Thomas Jr. if I need to as well.
So
I don't know if I really need anybody.
Okay, yeah, so you don't need anyone. Gotcha. Never mind then.
Best of luck on the waiver wire, I guess. Maybe you can convince one of your brothers to trade. After the Niners bye week, your middle, you have multiple middle brothers. That's what happens with a big family. Collier, your next in line brother. After the Niners, he has a team full of Niners. He said, "Pull up my Niners back in defense." George Kittle, and then
Jordan Mason.
And I was like, CMC's back. He's like, oh. And then he looked at the projection and like Jordan Mason's like 6.8 points. He's like, oh. So he had to like do a whole bunch of adjusting and things like that because he's playing your roommate. So
challenging game for him.
Yeah, Jake's got a pretty good roster, we'll say. All right.
Yeah.
Enough of our personal stuff.
All right.
On to why these folks are maybe really here, unless they're just here to hear our fantasy stuff. Who would be here for that? Fantasy from the Colts. First up is the QB.
Yes, Mr. Joe Flacco. Last week he had 3 points. 3 points.
So that's probably what? Last of all quarterbacks?
Probably, yeah. I said not good at all.
Yeah.
I don't think I have to explain much. I mean, obviously we were expecting more from him. Offense just didn't perform. Defense kept us in it. I love that, though. He's projected to give out 15 points, though. So it went down a little bit, but not a ton, especially for having a 3-point game. I don't know if there's much else to say about Joe Flacco. We've talked about AR, Joe Flacco, that whole debate a lot. So
Yeah. I mean, the only thing left to say as far as projection is come back tomorrow because we'll have our full breakdown of the Buffalo Bills game coming up.
yeah. Next person.
Yep.
Michael Pittman Jr. Last week he had 2.5 points. Not good. Our offense did not perform.
No.
I think you will see this as a common theme throughout this whole episode.
I also saw a video, and then it was confirmed earlier this week that Pittman dislocated his ring finger.
Really?
Yeah, it was sideways.
It's
one of those this kind of deal,
Yeah.
And he just
Gotcha.
went, put it back in. He said he should be fine. But now he's got a back and a finger issue and continues to largely not practice during the week.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about that here in a second as we get further into some of these other receivers, see how they did.
Mm-hmm. His MPJ's protection is about 12 points, which has been the same for him throughout the whole season. Don't know why it hasn't dropped more. I'd say maybe 8 or 9 points is fair. Because he does have those big games every now and then, but still, he hasn't produced a big game necessarily.
I mean, at the beginning of the season, you said consistent. He has not been that, other than maybe consistently not good.
Yeah. Adonai Mitchell. Last week, he had 3 points. It was his third best game of the season, so props to him. He also had a big catch in a moment of need, phenomenal catch in a big moment.
Yeah.
He made it look simple.
Did I send that to you?
What?
I didn't send Reggie Wayne to you, did I? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Was it him right by the ref telling him that's a catch, that part?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that live. I was watching, I'm like, there you go, Reg.
All right. Here. You go ahead. I'm continue to I'm gonna drop it in here so we can show everybody this thing here. Go ahead. Continue.
Adonai this coming week is supposed to get about 6 points. I don't know how much I trust that. He hasn't shown that. I think his best game is not even 6 points. So I don't know how much I would trust that. Next is Alec Pierce. Last week he had 7 points. He had a pretty big day. We know Joe likes to use Alec and JFD, who we'll get to in a second. Not only for the big bombs down the field, but also other things as well, like down and ins, that type of stuff. I mean, I said it's pretty average for him to have that. Averages in Alec has a wide scale. Sometimes it's 1 point, sometimes it's 20.
Right. Talk about that ceiling and that floor. There you go.
Yep. So 7, 8, 9, 10 even. Pretty average for him.
All right. Hold on. Here we go. I've got it.
Okay, we got it.
All right. You ready? Okay, so this is Reggie Wayne on the sideline after the catch. You don't even like the way that I cut this. You don't even see the catch. But here you go. Ready?
Yep.
Just killing it.
Adam and first wide receivers.
If you okay, this reminds me of if this gets posted, this is one of those every woman needs a man that hypes her up like this.
Mm-hmm.
Every player deserves a coach that will fight for you and believe in you like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you don't have somebody like this in your life, you need to get somebody. You need to get somebody who will do that for you. So,
I completely agree.
yeah.
Last little bit for Alec.
Yep.
He's projected to get 7 points as well as getting 7 points this past week. I'd say that's a fair projection for him. I can kind of talk about wide receivers as a whole after Josh Downs.
Please do.
Who is right now. Last week, 12 points. As a wide receiver in general, I'm no longer comparing them to themselves from past weeks. Now it's as general because I believe Josh Downs has deserved that title. In general, it is pretty average. I mean, if you're in a decently sized league and you have Josh Downs, that's a pretty good outing for you. The way I like to see it is if everyone gets at least 10 points, that's about 90 or so points on your team. And you can always count on at least one player to have 17 plus, which gets you a lot of points there. So you want to aim for each player to have at least 10, which is a good benchmark to have, I'd say.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Not his average. His projection is 15 points. I like how it keeps going up. He keeps performing, so obviously he's going to keep that going up. Do play the Bills this week, who I believe have a weaker secondary. Theoretically, like on paper, it looks weaker, but they played pretty well. It's still
come back to tomorrow to get the full breakdown.
It's still the Bills. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep.
As for wide receivers,
go ahead. Continue. Wide receivers. I have a question, but yes.
Okay. As for wide receivers as a whole, the only one I would consider starting is Josh Downs, who you have starting.
For now.
Unless
I choose to do Tyreek instead.
Yep. So other than that, don't have much else to say. The wide receivers have been underperforming, but that's also because we're spreading the ball a decent amount, running it a lot because that's what our team does, and just not having the greatest offense productivity. So
here's my question, and this is less fantasy related, but just while we're talking about this stable of receivers, this has been my thought process with the injury kind of ongoing with Pitt, and Coach Shane Steichen keeps bringing up his toughness and everything. No one has ever questioned Pitt's toughness, but in the grand scheme of this season and where things are headed, and the fact that the Colts are winning now because they put in Joe Flacco because he gives them the better chance to win now, is the new mantra instead of patience and development. Don't you think maybe it's a better choice to put AD and Alec out there together with Downs? Obviously, Downs is number one. Like, Downs has become the number one, but the Colts are not going to move him out of the slot. Correct?
Yeah.
He's good because he's good in finding those slot spaces and, getting, like, they put him in positions to get mismatches with linebackers ridiculously so well. I don't know why a defense would ever consider trying to put a linebacker on Josh Downs because he's so shifty. So he's number one as far as where things are at right now.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on the wisdom of putting AD and Alec out there to go with him rather than Pitt? And just let's give Pitt a rest. Let's see what happens when we give him a rest. And like, we understand that he wants to be out there and he just signed his big contract, but you don't have to because you just signed your big contract. You're not trying to prove anything. Maybe we just sit and take a breath, and maybe the Colts allow AD and Alec to be the two outside receivers. What do you think?
I like that idea because obviously Pitt is hurt. Not saying, and I think Pitt produces a lot more if he's not hurt. Whenever his first game back from injury was his best game this whole season. If we're talking in fantasy terms, he had at least over 10 points, which, like I said, is a benchmark that you kind of strive for. I think that having Pierce out there all the time as opposed to not all the time provides more of a deep ball opportunity as more of a safety valve, if that makes sense. Like if no one's open, chuck it up to Pierce if he has a 1v1-on-1, or just the threat that you have to bring a safety over to Pierce maybe because you know he can get that one-on-one ball.
Or
provides,
just beat him.
Yeah, it just provides a lot more and variety of stuff you can do on offense. I think also if AD's out there, it allows him to improve his game a lot more. And with Pitt not being there, obviously you're not going to use downs the whole time because they're going to catch on to that. And then you can't just throw deep balls the whole time to Pierce. Obviously, Pierce can do other things because he's a wide receiver, but he's the deep ball guy. So then you by process of elimination, you have to use AD, which improves his game, improves his play style. You can get him to where you know he can be because I still believe in AD. He's frustrating at times, but I still believe in him. Like I haven't lost faith. This is his rookie year.
Yeah.
Josh Downs was great in his rookie year, but not everybody is. So I still have hope for AD. You just need to get him involved a lot more than he is.
And I think that Pitt's injury issues right now are the perfect opportunity to get him out there. I think that you could force a defense into double coverage all the time on Alec Pierce for everything that he can do, which leaves AD one-on-one. And coming out of college, he was really like his route running and his releases were his thing. And so I really think that if you can force the defense into constantly covering, double covering AP because of the deep threat and having the safety and, deep on that one side, it puts AD in more one-on-one situations because you always have to account for Jonathan Taylor. I also would like to see the Colts went really 12 personnel a lot this past week, meaning like 2 tight ends. I would really like to see like 4 wideouts. Let's get AD, AP, Ashton, and Josh out there.
Yeah, I was
Let's
actually
see
going to
what that looks
mention.
like.
I was actually going to mention Ashton a little bit because I know you like Ashton a lot. He's a great special teamer, which I think provides a lot of. He kind of brings that to the offense, if that makes sense. Like he was
Right,
doing a lot of end around stuff.
Yeah.
That looked
Which
really
he did.
good.
He had 1 carry on an end around and 1 catch.
Yep.
Against the Vikings.
That looked really good from him. I really like that. And same type of thing that I was talking about with Pierce. You keep doing in there more, and you actually send them out on routes rather than end arounds. Then you can put them in, and they don't know what you're doing. Then
Special teamers,
as
man.
of right now, you put him in, and he's gonna do something. He's gonna block or he's gonna do an end around. He's not going out for a route.
Special teamers. Ashton, Grant Stewart, Zaire Franklin, Kenny Moore, Sam Womack, all cut their teeth on special teams.
Yep.
Speed also, EJ Speed, like all these guys that are, really key core people, all, that kind of special teams energy, that vibe. It's a different kind of thing. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Continuing on, Jonathan Taylor.
Yes. Jonathan Taylor had about 9 points. Not as great of an outing for him, but not terrible. I mean, 9 points is 9 points still.
Yeah.
Like I said, the benchmark is 10. Not quite to 10, but I also said someone else is getting 17 or something like that. So it kind of makes up for it a little bit. And then He's projected to get about 19.5 points. He's been projected to get a lot of points this season. This is his return to Buffalo after the sorry. Is it in Buffalo?
It's not. Nope.
Okay.
It is at home, but it is his next game. Yep.
It is his first game against Buffalo since his 5 touchdowns.
Yep.
I've been calling it that he's going to get another big game. I hope he does.
I mean,
I hope he really does. I think if he gets the big game, we win. Talk about it more tomorrow.
Yep.
But I would not be shocked if he gets 19.5 fantasy points. That is why I am keeping him in.
But here's the deal. Isn't his production entirely different now that Flacco is in there? Aren't they able?
Don't
defenses
think so,
are now able
honestly.
to stack the box, and you're more one-dimensional. You're more Matt Ryan because you're not. Your RPO game is not.
If you saw with the Vikings, yes, this is more the Vikings type of defense, and they didn't stray, but still, they weren't stacking the box as much. They did it sometimes, but a lot of that stuff was just disguised, where they would drop the people back. Like on the 3rd and 4th specifically, you run the ball right up the gut, you can tell those linebackers are dropping back.
Yep.
I am not a quarterback. I'm not an NFL quarterback. I can't read the field as well as they can, but I knew that. I'm like, okay, they're going to drop the ball. You got to run up the gut here.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. They would have gotten a first down.
Yeah.
Didn't do it. So I don't think it matters as much. JT is still getting through there one way or another. He just didn't break off a big run, which all of us always expect out of him. Yeah, at least one breakout run. So he just didn't have – just his presence is a lot on the field.
I have some ideas, but you have to come back tomorrow to check those out.
Yep.
Last one.
Last but not least, certainly not least this week, is the defense. They performed the best out of any Colts with 13 points. Best game yet for them.
Yeah.
Pretty good among defenses.
3 turnovers and a touchdown. I mean,
Yep.
It's pretty good.
Really, really good for them, except this upcoming week, they are projected to get 3 points. So it is the Bills.
Yep.
Bills are high-powered offense. They always are. I don't know. Don't put the defense in.
Don't put the defense in.
One game is not enough.
It's not enough. You'll have to come back tomorrow to see if it's fixed or it has to be fired.
Yeah.
But that is it for today. We'll be back tomorrow with our full preview on how to stop Josh Allen and unleash Jonathan Taylor again on the Bills defense. Buffalo visits Indy.
Yep. This is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.